Ahoy, everyone. How are we all doing? We've managed to rustle up a cheeky little midweek show. And as you'd have seen already, we've got a legend with us, and his name is Jez at Jez's Arsenal. And don't forget, people, his name is, his link rather, is in the title. So make sure you are smashing the likes on this stream, subbing to this. And if you're not going to do all that, please make sure you are getting to sub over to Jez, who was very well on his way to 10k subs, by the way. Very, very, very well on the way. And anyways, mate, how are you doing? It's good to have you on the show.
Mate. Yeah, look, it's nicely back on your stream. When you sent the link over, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna make. I could have gone on another show tonight. I went, no, I'm coming on Aaron's.
Pleasure.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to the debate, mate. It's going to be interesting and quite interesting what we just said backstage, isn't it? The comments, and all of a sudden they go, and it's like, wow, here we go. It's very difficult to keep up with everybody. So. Yeah, as I was saying to Aaron, you can't read out all the comments. It's just not possible. And but I'm looking forward to the talk, mate.
Yeah, and yeah, again, as a host, we try and do our best, and I'm going to do it now. Just while there's only a couple of us in here, so I'm going to say big up to Jamboy, big up to you, fella. How are you doing, Joseph Connor Golden as well? Big up to you, my friend. Always a pleasure supporting all the channels as always. As is Hendo, of course. Gavin in the building. Aces has popped in to say hello. Big up to you, my friend. What else have we got? Let's have a little scroll down. We've got footy chats. Hello, my friend. Big up Aaron, Jez, and the chat. Hope you're all good. I am absolutely blinding, my friend, and I hope you are the same. We got some mothers do have them. What a show. Frank Spencer, How are you doing? Proper conversation. We will get into that. Absolutely 100%. And we got Jason Carter here as well. And yeah, I'll just get sort of straight into it, Jez. So I'll start off with, of course, I'll start to the Premier League, which is it's only early days. It's only 2 games, 2 very different games. One of them obviously starting away at Manchester United. And I remember being on a panel, I think, with you, and me and you had the same sort of thinking in this. I was seeing all pre Premier League starting, all of the players, all of the fans going, "We're going to smash Manchester United up. We're going to bash them." We've never done it, have we, Jez, at Old Trafford? We never have, no matter what quality of team we had, no matter how terrible their team was or how good their team was. We just never did. So we always knew it was going to be a bit of a battle. And then, of course, the Leeds game was a little bit different. How do you feel about, obviously, them 2 games and coming out with 6 points in terms of starting for the season, of course?
Well, to be honest with you, going to Old Trafford, walking away with 3 points, I was more than happy because I actually predicted a draw. Start of the season, long before the start of the season, I said we'll get a draw there. And in fairness, so far I've been proved wrong all the way down. I'm happy about being proved wrong because I reckoned out the first 6 games we might walk out with 8 points.
Same.
And at the moment we've taken 6, so I couldn't be absolutely happier. Look, all that comments, I saw comments from people, we're going to bash them up 5-0 at Old Trafford. And I thought, well, that's never happened.
Yeah.
It's never happened in the history of Arsenal, ever. So what makes the difference now that we're going to go up there and beat them up 5-0? I just don't get it. I mean, I get people getting excited. It's not new season. We've got a few new players in. But come on, people, what's going on here? I think you're getting carried away. And I find it laughable because what it says to me, Aaron, is that a lot of these people that make these ridiculous predictions haven't been supporting Arsenal Football Club very long because they don't know what the history between Man United and Arsenal. Yeah. They've beaten us up there. 8-2, 6-1. I remember very 8-2. And it's not a great experience, but so far, touch wood, it's all going brilliantly, I think. But the Leeds United game, I did predict a 3-0 win for that. No, I didn't. I would lie. I predicted a 2-0 win, actually. And we went up there. We went and beat Leeds United 5-0. I thought it would be a tougher game than it was because I thought they're newly promoted. They want to prove themselves up. Let's be fair, they didn't really rock up at all, did they? I think they had 1 shot on target. Raya, he could have sat in a deck chair really that day. He didn't have much to do. And it was a good performance. I mean, to see our new striker, Grockers, get a hard worked goal, in fairness. I mean, that was no easy goal yet he scored. He had to take on 3 defenders there, skip round, slot it, and great goal, in my opinion. But then we see the meltdown of some people, disgraceful. I mean, this is our new striker, right? It's our new striker. Everybody's gassed up about we got Grockers in. Brilliant, fantastic. And then Monday, there's people slagging him off. Oh, why didn't he give the penalty to Max Dowman? Well, probably because we're looking to increase our goal difference right early, because it could go, who knows, it could go down a goal difference if we were to win the league. Who knows? We don't know that. But hey.
Yeah.
And
you
also,
never know,
the kid's not 16 yet, at the Emirates, wins a penalty, and then you give him the penalty, he'd probably be shitting himself. You know, I mean, I'm not saying he's not mentally strong, but I don't think he's mentally strong enough for that yet. And we've got a proven striker who needs to get goals under his belt. So, of course, Declan Rice is going to give it to bloody Grockers.
Yeah, the real captain of the team.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, there's no way he's going to walk up to Max down and say, "Yeah, Max, have a go, have a go."
Pardon the pun, but on the spot as well. You know, putting him on the spot, because it probably wouldn't have been rehearsed. Because him being on the field probably wouldn't have even been rehearsed.
Right in front of the North Bank, right where he's taking that pen. Yeah, he knows. It's like all them lot staring at him, wishing him the best, of course, and yet he's given all that pressure to say, right, you've got to slot this now, mate. And you don't do that to a young lad who's not even 16 yet, because if he missed that, right, my point is this: if he missed that, what would that do for his confidence?
It'd do more against his confidence missing it than it would for it if he put it away, wouldn't it? Yeah, exactly. The risk and reward, it doesn't make sense. And like you said, bear in mind, he's got another 22 or so years to have a moment on the Emirates pitch. He's 15 years old. You know, these kids are going now to their 37, 38. Do you know what I mean? It's not as if he's retiring tomorrow, is it? You know? But you know what makes me laugh as well on that point, Jez, and I'm glad you brought it up, to be fair. We're the ones that get called toxic and negative. The striker that you've all been crying out for has scored 2 goals and you're moaning at him. I mean, you can't make it up, can you? I think they just pick and choose some of these guys. Yeah, I'm the same as you. We've brought a goal scorer in, whether he's taking the penalties, whether he's not. I want my striker to take the penalties. Yeah. You know, Thierry Henry took penalties. Ruud van Nistelrooy's back in the days. You know, the Waymers, they all took penalties. Your best goal scorer, which is usually a striker, takes the bloody penalties. It's not hard. It's been that way for the vast majority of, well, you know, for the Premier League. Yeah, that's right. And, you know, if there'd be the same people complaining, oh, Gyökeres only scored 14 goals this season. Yeah, well, you gave all the penalties to Odegaard, didn't you? And he probably missed 80% of them. You know, you can't have it all both ways sometimes. I'm personally glad as well for Gyökeres that his first goal was that, like you quite rightly said, he's made it himself, isn't he? Taron, big up Taron, he coined the phrase of like a DIY goal. So he was just running on the channel, wasn't he? And he basically created himself. He got himself a goal scoring opportunity, and he done the most important thing, didn't he, Jez? And made that net ripple. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
That's what we bought him for.
Yeah.
And he's proven that he can do it. So, you know, you don't go and spend that sort of money and then say to him, right, yeah, you're our proven striker, but you're not taking the penalties. Oh, yeah, we'll. And that's a very good point you just brought up, actually. Very good point. If Odegaard had still been on the park, right, he hadn't been taken off injured, would that same decision have been made by Odegaard to give it to Gyökeres, or would Odegaard have taken it or handed it to somebody else? Now, I totally agree with what you've just said, that statement, right? Declan Rice was captain at the time, when he made that decision. When the penalty was given and they were assessing it, he had the ball. He walked away. Right, he stood on his own. Yeah, and I know, and you know, he'd already made the decision. If it is given, that it was a penalty. I mean, I saw that as a penalty straight away anyway on TV. But he knows who he's going to give that to. He's giving it to the striker because that's what we bought him for.
It's not a charity case, is it? These goals,
no.
You know, like you quite rightly said. I mean, we've all, well, you'll definitely know because you was there. We've won a league title on goal difference. They do matter, and I know it sounds sort of nitpicky or whatever, but if it could come down to something as silly as the odd goal or two, give it to me to the striker that puts the vast majority of them away, rather than the captain who misses half of them or pressurising a young 15-year-old boy. That's what he's the striker. He's the lethal goal scorer. He's the put the ball in the back of the net, give it to him, and he'll most likely do it. It's not difficult to get, is it, Jez? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the point is this, right? That season 89, right? That was won by Arsenal not on goal difference, but goals scored.
Yeah, of course it was goals for. Yeah.
And that's the first time ever that had ever happened to win a Division 1. It was goals scored, and that's why Arsenal had to score 2 goals. And that was a unique experience. Now, can you imagine the meltdown, right? Come this time next May, right? And we've got to go away somewhere, and we've got to win the league, the Premier League, yeah? First time we've won it in 26 bloody odd years. And we've got to go and win it on goals scored. And we haven't, our captain hasn't given our best striker the ball to score penalties. Can you imagine them? Can you imagine what would happen?
Uproar.
Can you imagine it? The actual breakdown of the fan base saying, this, that, and the other, this, dear God, there'd be a riot at the Emirates.
Yeah. As a captain, you've got to not only make the right decisions on and the field, but you've got to also avoid yourself from making on the spot silly decisions. Getting caught up in the moment of, wouldn't it be cute if Max Dowman scored this penalty? No. No. Give it to the best goal scorer. Don't care about the wouldn't it be lovely? Don't care about that. Give it to me. Give it to the geezer who's got the highest probability of putting the ball in the back of the net. And if that's Gyökeres, sorry, Max, you'll have your chance in the next 2 decades. But today ain't your day. I want the ball in the net. Do you know what I mean?
And he probably wouldn't have wanted to take it.
Yeah, I know.
I know he's young and he wants to prove himself. Well, at the moment, he's proven himself. But to put that amount of pressure on a young, I say boy, because to me, he is a boy. Right, he's not an adult yet. He's not 18, right? He's a very good footballer, and he's got a massive future as long as he's not burnt out, a bit like Saka by our manager.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if he had missed that penalty, that damage that would done to his confidence would be massive.
Yeah,
massive.
Yeah. That head would be down, wouldn't it? That head would be down. He'd be devastated.
It'd take him weeks to get over that.
Yeah.
So the next game he plays for Arsenal, right? And he's out there and he knows now he's under pressure. Because everybody was looking at it. I wouldn't say get berated for it, but you're going to get people say, fucking hell, he should have taken that penalty. And that poor kid is going to think, oh, God, I had my opportunity. That was my one opportunity that I could have proven myself. So automatically, he's doubting himself. You know it as a young man when you were that age, right? You are vulnerable to criticism.
Of course.
It's hard to take. Yeah. And the fact is, it can have a massive kickback on him and think, I know he'll get the support of the senior players and all that, but it's deep down when he goes home that night, right, to his parents right? And he's in his room, listening to some music, doing all just chilling. He's going to be festering on that.
He might even have a little sob. Do you know what I mean? Considering his age, do you know what I mean? He might even have have a little sob, have a little cry. You don't know. The kid's 15. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's not the right situation. I'm sorry. It shouldn't have been sort of. But go on, sorry.
You and I, right? I know we're vastly different in age group, right? The way you deal with failure is a lot different to a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
The way you deal with failure compared to your little boy, right? If he's, I don't know, if he's making a Lego thing and it all goes tits up, he's going to have a meltdown. Whereas you're going to sit there as an adult who's experienced and go, well, all right, we'll go again then. We'll try this again. No, let's go. No, chill. We'll change it another way.
And then I'll smash the house up if it goes wrong the second time.
Yeah, and you throw it out the window.
Yeah.
But,
I know what you're saying. Yeah, you deal with it better.
You know what I'm saying? It takes things in a different way to go. All right, I got that wrong, but you've got to reassess it. You've got to readdress it. And I've found that in my lifetime that you think how I deal with things now is probably a lot different to when I was in my 20s. I was, a very angry person back then and did silly things. But now I'd sit back and go, right, okay, got that one wrong. How am I going to deal with it? I think that is the thing is, it's life experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah, and let's just say, for argument's sake, again, continuing the narrative of missing it, that'd be probably his first sort of big, real disappointment in his career. I know it sounds silly to say, but he wouldn't have, he made his debut, for crying out loud. And that would have been a big sort of setback. I know it's only a penalty and people can read into it, but when you factor in all them little variables, like him being a young lad and everything like that, there is a little bit of a setback, especially considering he's on the back of such a really good pre-season where he's arguably been the brightness, the only sort of brightness really from that pre-season. And, to sort of take and snatch that sort of away unnecessarily, let him come on and do what he done. He won the penalty. He was taking on players. He was running at people. That's what we want to see. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have to get the penalties yet. Let the strikers do that. Let the 27-year-old £50 million striker do that. Do you know what I mean? You win them all day long for me, Max. Win them all day long, my friend. We've got a geezer that can put them away. But yeah, I mean, look, overall, I was sort of quite happy in terms of the return. So 6 points, obviously, from 6. Mathematically, you can't get any better than it, obviously. I think they were, like I said, 2 different games. Personally, yeah, we all know I'm not going to stand up for the performance at Old Trafford. It was absolutely diabolical. However, it was one of them, wasn't it, Jez, where if you draw that, the Leeds game becomes a little bit more nervy. And then all of a sudden you've got that Liverpool game and, these fixtures are coming thick and fast for us. It could turn into a really bad start to the season. Obviously, that hasn't transpired. We've got the real stinky win at Old Trafford, got the 3 points, and we've really sort of coupled that with a fantastic, not unbelievable performance, but job well done winning 5-0 in a Premier League game. I believe that's give us a nice little bit of, a little bit of impetus, a little bit of confidence, a little bit of, going into Liverpool away where we haven't won in such a long time, 2012, I believe. We can go there with just that little bit more confidence. And I wanted to say this as well, and it's something you'll be aware of anyway. We've, apart from win a trophy, of course, a Premier League title, Mikel Arteta's almost done sort of everything, bar go to one of his title rivals away from home and take all 3 points. He hasn't done that yet. Now, obviously, we're going to come into the game against Liverpool now. What would you sort of be happy with? What can you see sort of happening? Do you think we can win there? Do you think we need to finally go there and win there? What's your thoughts on it, man?
Well, I'll get into that. I just want to make. I don't know if you agree with this. When Odegaard went off against Leeds United, we were a different team.
Yeah,
different team entirely. We were thrusting. We were going forward. Sad to say that. I mean, look, I'm not an Odegaard hater, right? He does have his moments when he can be very, very good. But two things, and I'll move on to Liverpool, right? He's not captain material for me. He don't do enough talking. He's not commanding enough. And sometimes his style of play puts us on the back foot. In my opinion. We should have a better level, and for me it's either Gabriel or Rice, but that's my say on that. Going back to Liverpool, we're away at Anfield. It's always a tough day out at Anfield, right? You know, in history, just you only got to look at it. It's a tough venue for a lot of teams, not just Arsenal, a lot of teams. But you're quite right. The fact is, we've got to go there and show intent. I watched the game the other night, Newcastle, Liverpool. I wasn't very impressed with Liverpool. I didn't think they were overly brilliant.
Defensively, a little bit shaky, weren't they?
They were 2-0 up. 2-2, nicked it in the 90th minute or thereabouts. The thing with Arsenal, 3 years ago now, 2-0 up, all going rosy at Anfield. And I that game, I thought, here we go. We're going to win at Anfield now. First time in, as you say, 2012. And unfortunately, Xhaka did Xhaka shit, and that was the end of that then. But I'm quite confident, Aaron, after the win at Man United. It was a crap game. Yes, it was. It wasn't. It was not a pretty game to watch, but we nicked it and got away with it. Leeds United, I always thought we'd win. I didn't think we'd win by 5, but I thought we'd win. Liverpool, haven't watched them. The first game they won, comfortably, 4-2. But I'm going to stick my neck out here. I reckon we could nick that. I reckon it's going to be a tight game.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm going to say it now. I reckon we could nick that 2-1. I'll tell you for now. If Eze starts, right, which I think he will, or he should.
I'm going to get to that in a little bit. Yeah, what you reckon they'll do with the lineup? But yeah.
But I think he should start. He looks big up for it. He looks really, really excited to be back at Arsenal Football Club after being, youth boy. I'm not overly convinced, having seen that game at Newcastle about Liverpool. And let's be fair, their first game at home, they, in the end, ran out 4-2. But was it 4-2 or 4-1?
Yeah, 4-2, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm sure it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. But again, I didn't think all that of them. I think we could get there. If Gyökeres does what we know he can do, he's shown us. I don't think Odegaard will start. I know this is a horrible thing to say. I hope he doesn't, because I think if he starts, then it'll be a different game to what it could be in our midfield. Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game, mate. It's Sunday, isn't it? Sunday.
Yep, Sunday. Yeah, I'm going to say a cliche, an old cliche of football. Do you think this is a good time to play Liverpool? For many reasons you've already sort of listed. They haven't. Yes, they've got 6 points out of 6. And they have been scoring some goals, but they haven't really defensively settled yet. Canard hasn't found his feet. Florian Wirtz, he will end up tearing the Premier League up. There's no doubt. That's a case of when, not if. But he hasn't really settled in yet, So when we sort of signed him, you think he's going to come in the ground and be magnificent. So far, he hasn't found his feet yet. And like I said, do you reckon this might be a good time to catch Liverpool at Anfield, just while they're not firing on all cylinders?
Look, you've just hit it right on the head there. Okay. When we saw the fixture list come out, I saw that. I thought, difficult. I'm actually quite happy about it, because look, we're going to play We've played Man United. We've got to play Liverpool. We've then got Man City, Forest. They're not, I think, the team they were so far yet. They were last year. So I'm quite happy about it. I'll tell you for why. Because we're getting early, getting hard, get results against these teams, and then we got a little bit of a nice run out. We've got a little run where I'm not going to say we're playing average teams. There's no average teams in the Premier League.
But you're not facing the big hitters, are you? That's
No,
what you mean.
we've got a nice
the big boys. Yeah.
Get the damage done early is what I think I'm trying to say. Get in there, get the max points we can out of these games, and then run on. And I like that, actually. I like that because if we hit the ground running hard and fast, and it's difficult to say that we did that. Well, we did do it against Leeds, but Leeds United, respectfully, are not Liverpool. Yeah. So if we can get in there, do the damage, walk out, take 3 points, brilliant. Even if we walk in there and take a point, I'll take it because Anfield's a tricky place to go and play. But I'd like the 3 points and really put the nail down. And it's going to be a big game, though. It's a massive game.
Oh, 100%. And I think what you said's right as well. Like, if you give me the point now, I hate doing this because I always like to think we should go and win it. But considering what I thought before the season started and how, when we weren't really making the signings, and I was feeling a little low, to be fair, and a bit deflated about the season. If you'd have offered me 7 points to start off the league, a few weeks ago, I'd have bit your hand off. So, I've got to sort of stick with the fact that you're factoring in 2 very tricky away games. I know Manchester United, and they're not Liverpool where they are in terms of competing, etc. But that's a bloody hard stadium for us to go, and to knock 2 of them out the way and get them 7 points. Yeah, I know you'd then still have 3 difficult teams, like you just said. You'd have Nottingham Forest at home, Manchester City at home, and then you got Newcastle away. I think if you can come out smelling of roses there somehow, you're probably not going to be getting your 6 wins out of 6. But if you can maybe avoid defeat, a couple of draws here and there. I know we don't want the Barca draws, but you'd take a Barca draw at Liverpool, maybe Newcastle in there and win the other 2. You come out with 4 wins and 2 draws, and you're going, do you know what? We've got 3 awful games out the way here. We've played a couple of tricky ones at home as well. That's when you could, like you said, possibly go on that run. I mean, obviously that's way down the line, but that's what you need to do. Look at what Liverpool done last season. They gained momentum early, and they never looked back. We couldn't match them with points. Manchester City couldn't match them with points, and all of a sudden they were 5 points ahead after 6-7 games. Then they were 7 after 10, and also Manchester City went, well, there you go. They never looked back, did they?
So they're not that great, are they? Man City,
Manchester City.
To be fair, they got turned over the other day. Yeah. So they're not back to their best yet. And maybe it's time. This could be, if they don't, I'll say this right now. If Man City do not win the Premier League this year, I reckon Pep will go.
Would what, sack or leave?
I reckon he'd leave.
Yeah, because he's got 1 year.
I don't know if they'd sack him, but the owners there are very, very ambitious people. They've spent a lot of money. They've spent a lot of money in this recent last January and this window. Yep. So they're expecting glory. And if he don't achieve that, then I reckon he'll be gone.
Yeah.
We'll have Pep. How about that?
Well, again, I'll be biting people's hands off there, for a bit of Pep. Just even for two years. Because the squad that we've got isn't horrendous.
No.
It's just the way it's been set up, the way it's been managed. If you was to bring... It's funny, because I didn't really think I was going to be asking something like this, but if you was to bring in me a Pep Guardiola now, I'll be going, do you know what? Maybe we could win the league here.
Yeah.
That's where I'd be at. I'd be thinking, do you know what? with Pep managing this side, I think we've got a chance here, but not with Arteta. And people will go, oh, yeah, well, you can't say that he's done this. Pep Guardiola has won, what, 6, 7 Premier League titles, including 4 on the bounce. He's won Champions Leagues. He's won every domestic cup numerous amount of times, and he's done it abroad as well. We are talking so night and day. We're not talking about the best Premier League manager with the second best in the league. We're not. We are talking CV-wise, achievements-wise. We're talking about 2 totally different planets. Like their universes apart in terms of getting over the line and what they've won, aren't they? So if you was to hand me over that for Pep Guardiola, you probably would be looking at the season a bit more optimistically, wouldn't you? I mean, definitely. It's probably a fair shout to say, but no one else is available. I'm not saying that Pep is, but no one else is available though. You know, no one's available. It has to be Arteta or nothing for some reason. But we'll obviously wait and see. But what I did want to ask for you as well, Jezza, with the Liverpool game, because obviously we know there's a few injuries. Saka's definitely going to be out. Is Odegaard going to be out? He's in the Norway squad. Whether he'll be starting, we don't know. But I'm intrigued, not just in terms of the forward line, but the whole sort of like team. How would you set up? And obviously, what would your starting lineup be against Liverpool? Because we've got obviously this Eze signing coming in there. I'm just quite intrigued to see how you'd set up, and probably how you think as well Mikel Arteta had set up.
Well, I'd pretty much go with what we did at the weekend. Odegaard out. Eze's got to come in. He's got to come in.
So assuming that obviously Odegaard's out, yeah, you'd just instantly replace him with Eze, would you? Yeah.
Straight away. Well, I know it'd never happen. If Odegaard's fit, we know he'll be in there. We know that. But if he's out, then Eze has got to be in there. Pretty much what we saw the other day. I'd stick out. I'd actually probably go starting Wary on the right, as Saka will be out. We know that. I'd start Wary out there, or possibly I'd stick Martinelli out there. He can play on the right. And Gyökeres, we know that that's the dead cert. Yeah. And as rightly should be.
Yep.
So pretty much what we've seen so far. Jurriën Timber, I thought, had a great game the other day. I thought he was excellent.
He's brilliant.
Yeah, I thought he's brilliant.
Such a good signing. Would you if Ben White's fit, and this is what I'd do, and I said this last night on Potsy's thing, if Ben White was fit, would you considering? Calafiori's had an okay start to the season. He's been fine. He's not really been tested though, but he will be on Sunday against Mohamed Salah. Would you play Timber left back and White right back, assuming that they're both fit, just to have that bit more? Because Timber's fantastic one-on-one and defending, and Arteta's done it similarly before with Tomiyasu against Mohamed Salah. I just thought that I'd probably be a little bit more comfortable with Gakpo facing Ben White and Salah facing Timber, as opposed to Salah facing Calafiori and Gakpo. I just think it gives us that bit more solidarity, not as a permanent fixture, but just for this game, because Calafiori, his one-on-one defending ain't good, and I think that's going to be that left-hand side when we played Liverpool. Jez, to be fair, has always been a problem position, hasn't it? It always has done. The Zinchenko's, and we've always been caught out down that side, and obviously their best players playing that side. And I genuinely believe, anyway, regardless of what you say about MLS or Calafiori, that left side is still the weak part of this defence. That's almost inarguable. They will target that side, and I just think probably if assuming Ben White is fit, I reckon that would be a good move to do to just shore that up. What do you reckon?
I totally agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
I don't like Lewis Skelly playing left back. I don't think it's not him. He gets caught out too high up the pitch for my liking when he plays there. I would put Ben White at right back and Timber at left back. I think he's got more in him on that one-to-one challenges. Yeah, you're quite right. Last 2 or 3 games, we've actually been targeted by Liverpool down that left flank, our left flank. So we need to shore that up. But the problem The problem I see is, this is always my concern with Mr. Arteta. He likes to stick with what he knows. To me, he's just not flexible enough. Unless his hand is absolutely forced because of an injury, then he'll do the same old, and that's where we can get caught out. So our midfield has got to be strong. I mean, I've been saying this for a while. When we go away, I would actually go into a 4-4-2, because unfortunately at times our midfield just gets overrun. We're not strong enough at times, especially, dare I say it, when Odegaard's there. He likes to just disappear out the game, and leaves us on a weak situation where Rice is doubling up, and we need more cover for that. Now, it'll be an interesting battle, really, because if White can jump in, if he is fit and jumps in there, I'm more than happy with him. I don't dislike Ben White, to be honest with you. I think he's decent. Odegaard, I know it's horrible, but I'd rather he didn't play, to be honest. He don't turn up for them games. He doesn't show enough impetus, and he doesn't show enough bollocks as a captain in those big games. Yeah. So
that's where you can. Sorry, Jess. I don't.
No, go on, mate. Go.
That's where you need your leaders, isn't it? He hides in the place where you need your leader to shine, doesn't he? You know, you look at all games gone by. You know, you'd see Tony and Patrick standing tall, right in the thick of it, rising to the occasion. Odegaard shrinks. You know,
he does.
Yeah.
He at times reminds me of the latter days of Ozil. You know, he just disappear. And I mean, I'm not comparing Ozil to Odegaard. Ozil's levels in his good days to Odegaard, but I just don't think he has the cojones for these big games. How many times have you've been at the games, right? You've been at the Emirates, you've been there, and you see him almost hiding behind the ref. He's like out of screenshot, and you think, well, what are you doing? You're the leader. You should be right in there, right? Yeah. You should be leading from the front, and that is what I don't like with him. But Arteta, will he do what we think he should do? I don't know, because at times he has got it right against Liverpool, but then he'll make a silly substitution and it cocks it all up. And what I don't want to see, if we go 2-0 up, Aaron, just saying, if we go 2-0 up at Anfield, I do not want you, Mr. Arteta, in the 55th, 60th minute going defensive. Yeah. And you've done it before. He's done it before, right? And we've got caught out. Yeah. Because he seems to think that 2-0 game over. Not against teams like Liverpool, it ain't.
Not at their gaff either.
Not at their gaff.
All it takes is the tiniest small little thing to get that crowd going. And as soon as they're rip-roaring and it transmits to the players, if you're defending a 2-0 up after 55 minutes, I'll tell you what, I've got a bloody long 35 or 40 or so minutes. Because we've seen it before, Jez, haven't we? Trying to do that, and it's just wave after wave after wave, and it's not sustainable. You might get away with it and be lucky, you don't know, but you're absolutely right. You can't affect the game to give them that impetus, because as soon as they get it and that crowd smells that instant bit of blood, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, you're in much trouble. It's got to be properly game managed. And I think what you're saying as well there is, we're looking at it and people are going, oh, you're being negative side of it. No, it's what we've seen for the last 5 years. We're not just guessing this. We're given an assumption based on 5 years of historical events. Usually does make the wrong decision here. Usually does make the defensive substitution too early. Usually does make the attacking option, should you need it, too late. You know, it does make silly substitutions. It's not something we're just throwing out there because we're miserable wankers. It's because we've seen it 38 games times 5. You know, he's got to learn and get used to us, and he's got a big opportunity to to get it right, you know. And now we've got options, Jez. And I sort of like the idea of, you know, throwing in an Eze sort of straight away. And, you know, you've got some, yeah.
You've got to throw him in. You just spent out 60 odd million quid, right? This is not a cheap signing, right? They went in for him, and I don't care what anybody says. They went back in for him when Havertz went out. They knew they had to go and do something because Havertz is out for probably quite a while. And I don't care what any of these people say, these cantons and all that. So, no, it wasn't a panic buy. I'm sorry, that was a panic buy. Yeah. They knew they had to go for him. And they went in, nicked him up and got him. Now, the other interesting one is also, isn't it, this guy, this Ecuadorian player. Forgot his name now.
Yeah, I've got it wrote down somewhere, but for the love of me, I don't know how to pronounce it. Hincapi or something, is it?
No,
Hincapi?
Hincapi.
Yeah. Apologies for butchering that to death, but Hincapi, yeah.
Apparently, somebody was saying in my chat last night, I haven't seen any further notice on this, that it's agreed in principle. Now, apparently he's half a decent player at left back and left centre back. So that's an interesting one, because that says to me there's people going out the door there. Now he's a young player as well.
23, I think, is he?
Something like that, isn't it?
I think, yeah. I'm sure 22, 23. I've seen.
Yeah. I think that I know people say, "Oh, what's this obsession with defenders?" But we got a couple of defenders that shouldn't be in no more. So at the end of the day, I know nothing about this player. I've never seen him play. So I can't sit here and give you all the facts and figures and everything. I've only seen what I've seen on Transfer Market.
Yeah, same.
But young player, experienced. So if we bring him in to shore up that left flank, I'm more than happy.
Jez, if the hype's to be believed, then, and we sign him early, what about throwing him in at left back against Liverpool? Or is that just a little bit too early?
Look, I haven't got a problem. No, look, these are seasoned. Look, he's a professional, right? He's not a young 14-year-old, right? He's been knocking it about. So if you buy these players, I'm not one of these players that says, "Oh, you just got to bring him into the squad, let him get used to everything." No, stick him out there. That's what you bought him for, right? I know this is a silly analogy, right? In your job, if you buy a new drill, you're not going to say, "Well, I'm not going to use you today, mate, because I think I've got to break you in." You know, no, you throw them in there, get on with it.
The battery's going straight into it, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? There you go.
You know what I mean? You just
sorry, I've just got to tell these kids off. 1 second.
So use the player, and I don't think we'll get him by the weekend, personally. And we ain't got long though. We haven't not got long to do this, because Monday's the 1st of September. It's deadline day.
5 days, Jez.
Yeah.
5 days.
So we got to move. If they are serious, they got to move quick. But let's say we bought him tomorrow. You know, he's flown over from Germany, medical done, all that dramas. Then why not travel him up to Liverpool on Sunday? I ain't got a problem with that. I think that's what's the point of buying a player and you just say, "Oh well, we just got to let him settle in now." No. Yeah. He's a seasoned professional. He can hack it, right? All right. Oh well, people will say, "Well, no, he's not used to playing with the team." I think that's bollocks myself.
Yeah, 40 million, 50 million defender, whatever we're going to pay for him. Yeah,
he knows his job, right? Yeah. He's been doing it all the time. He's a professional. He knows the job he's got to do. He's got to defend. So it's not hard, is it?
Yeah.
You know, when you buy a striker, that striker knows what he's got to do. He's got to score goals. Your goalkeeper knows what he's got to do. He's got to save goals. So I don't fall for that.
I personally would throw him in if he's there on time, purely because, and like I said, I know Calafiori hasn't been bad so far this season, but I'm just so conscious about his one-on-one defending. You play Calafiori in 30 of the Premier League games or whatever, obviously barring the new guy. You know what I'm trying to say. But when it comes up to against a pacey, tricky winger that knows what he's doing, Calafiori ain't it.
No.
He just ain't it. Like, he gets beaten way too easily. And the problem is with that is once we're in sort of behind on there, there you go. They've infiltrated our weak point. These top teams like Liverpool's, you give them that little run where they're onto the byline, they're cutting it back to a player, and you best believe someone's running in and putting it in the back of the net. You get punished at that level when you play these big teams. Salah will get beat Calafiori, and he will find a man, and they probably will put it in the goal. So you've got a sort of cover all basis. And I mean, I hear a lot of people saying he's a really good one-on-one defender as well. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, definitely get him in. And I do sort of hope from this point that they do. I think I have heard, Jez, that it's deal dependent on like the Kivior getting sort of done. I think mainly the Kivior. I think, and as far as I'm aware, it's quite far down the line, the Kivior deal. I think a loan with an obligation. But to be fair as well, I also think that they're trying to get this deal for this Hincapi, whatever his name is, or as Robert says, give him 3 games under Arteta and he'll be handicappy. He loved it. Absolutely brilliant. And apt, because, you're probably not right. He'll probably get 6 months injured after the Anfield game, wouldn't he? Hopefully not. But yeah, I don't know. It's just sort of one of them, and it'll be quite interesting to see how it all sort of pans out. But what I did want to do is read in this one more little thing here, and then we'll just quickly move it on. And it's just absolutely gone. Oh no, here we go. It was Lawrence's super chat. I just wanted to get this in quickly because Jez, I don't actually know. Big up to Lawrence as well. Just read the Carabao Cup draw is tonight. It is indeed, but I didn't realise it was being split into 2 draws. So what time's the first one taking place? I'm sorry, my friend. I've got no bloody idea. I thought Jez might have known. Yeah, I didn't realise they do it in 2 draws. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous.
It's ranked now, isn't it? It's done on a ranked basis, which I find a bit bizarre. I didn't know it'd been split though.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Do you know what I don't know if this is a new thing or I've just been oblivious for so many years, Jez. But the English teams in Europe, obviously, the English teams that are in European competition can't face each other in the 3rd round either because they've got the European obligation. I didn't know that. That might be a new thing. So obviously, yeah, because Arsenal can't face a Man City or a Tottenham or whoever's qualified. They can't face each other because of that obligation. Yeah, maybe might be a new thing. I'd have thought you'd have known about it.
On a basis now. I think that's how they've done it. I mean, I could be talking complete bollocks, and I probably am. But at the end of the day, it seems I think what they were trying to do after last season is, I think it's a bit biased, this, in one way. It's almost like they're trying to make sure that the top flight, if you want to call it top flight teams, don't knock each other out too early in the competition.
Yeah.
They want the fact that you're going to have Man City's, Arsenal's, Liverpool's,
Chelsea's,
Tottenham's in towards the end of the competition, which I think is a bit bollocks, really, because I don't think that's fair on the other teams, to be fair.
Yeah, I think it's because they want the glamour of it. That's probably what they're trying to do, because even though it's still a trophy, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. They probably want more of a sponsorship deal because they're seeing the big boys maybe taking it a bit more seriously, etc. They want the big boys there because, like you said, the television money, the stadiums,
Exactly.
you know it. It all comes back to that eventually, doesn't it, Jez? No matter how you wrangle everything, it always finds its way back to money.
Yeah, mate. They want the max out of it. I mean, I agree with so many people on this one comment, and that has been bandying about for some time. Why do we have to have FA Cup semi-finals at Wembley?
Yeah,
because the FA get more money. because they own Wembley. It was always great, in my belief, in tradition of the FA Cup, that semi-finals that would be played at places like Villa Park,
Hills, was it Old Trafford, St Mary's, I think, was it?
Yeah,
maybe they've done it. Yeah,
they've been held at Highbury back in the many years and years and years. 9 FA Cup semi-finals have been held at Highbury. For London, when we had Chelsea versus like Orient, Chelsea versus West Ham in FA Cup semi-finals and all that. Now it's all at Wembley. I think that spoils the whole thing personally. When you've got a team like Man City, let's say Man City and Liverpool are playing in a cup semi-final, they've got to travel to Wembley. So have all the bloody fans. And let's be honest, it's not cheap to travel down from Liverpool, Manchester on the train or by coach or whatever you're doing, however you're going to get there. For the majority of those fans, that's a tough ask with the current climate. And I think it's wrong. I don't think, like, if you've got Liverpool, Man City, have it at Old Trafford. That's how it used to be.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. It's much less of a nightmare. Imagine a Newcastle. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm sure they'd rather go to Manchester than bloody London. Let's get that absolutely right. You know, that is a bastard of a journey, you know? That is an absolute bastard of a journey. It's right. It's so greedy, and it takes away from the spectacle, I think, because obviously you'd have been to many, and I've been to a couple. When you go to Wembley, you want it to be a final. You're like, wow, we're here. Wembley is final day. But then you get that in the semi-final. It loses that, wow, we're at Wembley. Yeah, look, it's great. It means you've obviously got to a latter stage of a competition, but that should be part of the prize of getting to the final, shouldn't it? That you're going to play at Wembley, yeah.
You know, if you're playing, Arsenal are playing Chelsea in an FA Cup semi-final, so you go to Wembley for the semi-final, and then 6 weeks later, you're back, you're back there. Oh, well, it is 6 weeks ago. Do you know what I mean? It sort of like knocks a bit
away. Yeah, it does take away from the. Yeah,
it's not really the same sort of thing. Yeah, I've been loads of semi-finals. I've been at Villa Park. It's always a different occasion. It was like, oh, we've got to go Villa Park for the old semi-final this week. Yeah, come on, yeah.
And I bet you that was followed by, I'd love it if we get to Wembley. Do you know what I mean? Or thereabouts, because you're going to the big boy. You know.
Well, it's a funny thing you say that. It's a funny thing you say that, because you always know the old song at semi-finals. We're going to Wembley. We're going to Wembley. Yeah, and all that. Well, you don't get that sung anymore now at semi-finals. We're going to Wembley. You're always fucking there.
Yeah. So, doing it in round 5 or round 6, whatever, because you're bloody qualified for it. Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. It does take away from the spectacle. It's just as simple as that. It's no longer as big of an achievement playing at Wembley because you get 2 shots at it, didn't you? It just is. I'm sort of all for that. There's this thing from Lawrence, and it segues me in nicely to this next little bit. So Lawrence, big up to you, my friend, and I hope you're doing well, of course. In 57 years I've been following Arsenal, I've never seen the club be so active in a transfer window. I'm saying that the business we've done this summer should have been done after the 2020 Cup final. And obviously, I know, you're sort of meaning the ambition. That ambition would have been in a totally different place. We've had also, Mikel Arteta's had 5? I think this might be a 6th summer window, there or thereabouts. We should have had this ambition much earlier on. We'd have probably had a Premier League title, maybe even two. Especially from that shit of last year. That's probably why this summer looks a lot better than it is, because we're making up for not having anything in January and only signing Calafiori and Marino in the other window. It was just not good enough. We had to do something like this more out of necessity than anything. But you think, if we'd have had that Jez when we was tearing teams up in the 22-23 year, if we'd have had this window, then we'd have won a Premier League. I can absolutely.
I
Yeah.
actually totally agree with you.
Yeah.
When we were 8 points clear, man, we should have walked in that door and just shut the door and walked away and said, we've done it.
Yeah.
This is what says to me, Aaron, that Mikel Arteta is under massive pressure this season now. I wouldn't be at all surprised since Berta's come in, when we know the statement last season that when Berta came in, Josh Kroenke was at the training ground, London Colney. He didn't talk to Arteta, and it was Arteta sort of dismissed it. I reckon I wouldn't be at all surprised that Josh Kroenke, it's not stands out of the picture really. It's basically put down the fact you've got to win this year. You've got to win. You're gonna have a big window, and let's be fair, it has been a big window, but you've got to win. And if you don't win, you're gone. And Bert has done the work behind the scenes to get the players in, and now Arteta's got to deliver, because it's interesting, wasn't it, when you saw Grokeres' first goal against Leeds at the weekend. Arteta won't run up and down the touchline, right? He was like applauding. That says that's an indictment to me to say that Arteta is still smarting over the fact he didn't get Sesko.
Yeah,
he didn't really want. We know he didn't want Grokeres. He wanted Sesko. Well, I think Arteta, you're a prick for that, because I think Grokeres has got a much better proven track record. But each to our own on that one. But to me, there is massive pressure now on Arteta to deliver something big. And I'm sorry, much as I hate to say this, the Carrier Bag Cup and the FA, much as I love the FA Cup, I love it to death, it's not big enough now. It's not big enough. He's got to deliver something much bigger, and it's got to be Premier League or Champions League. And if he don't do that, I reckon he'll be gone.
Yeah. And do you know what? Especially considering the moves that Berta is sort of making, let's get it right. And I know you know this as well. Snubbing Mikel Arteta at that training ground was very tactical. That was basically letting him know, yeah, I ain't coming over to mosey over here, mate, and be all pally, shake your hand, say a silly little joke, ask you how the family are. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you, mate. Yeah, I'll talk to you when I'm ready to give you a little debriefing of what's going to be changing around here. That's how I like to think that it was sort of gone. And he's basically gone, right, yeah, hopefully he's putting all bits in sort of place to basically go, right, Mikel, guess what? You've wanted XYZ player. Maybe you've got X, but you've got Y and Z that I'm told you to, i.e. Gyökeres, maybe Eneze as well added into that. We've spent 320 billion now. Now you've had £1 billion, son. You're no longer an inexperienced manager. This is your 7th season at the club. You're the second most experienced manager in the Premier League. Win, or honestly, like, I'm already talking to two geezers. There's no more. There's no more excuses now, you know, and especially I think one of the reasons why maybe he was looked so not depleted on there is because I think his world's shrinking a little bit. And by that, I mean, he's now being overturned in terms of decisions. He's now got a striker that breeds a bit more pressure because he's better. And now we expect you to deliver more. We've spent a lot of money in the window. He always says, I want to be backed. I want to be backed. Well, now you have been backed. And the expectation is only higher. When you factor in all the failures of the previous, it's do or die, do or bust. You can't piss around on your £50 million a year anymore going, oh, yeah, but because this, oh, them darn refs, oh, these unprecedented injuries. Well, guess what now? You've got a bigger squad now. There's no excuse for you to not rotate them and run them into the ground then. There's no excuse for you to not run these players into the ground. Now we get to see how you can squad manage, because so far we've seen you do it fucking poorly. Hence all of these grade 3 hamstring injuries. Hence why they're all now getting reoccurring injuries this season. No one's surprised, are we? Are you surprised? Of course you're fucking not. You're the least surprised person I've ever seen that we're getting injuries from Havertz, who's at a grade 3, and a Saka now. And probably Gabriel, God forbid, is going to be next. Because he hasn't managed them. Now that's it. You've got your big squad. Manage them now. That's it. You've spent all your money. You've got your back in. Win something. And I reckon his world is shrinking a little bit because, as Matty would say, the gig's up. The gig is up now. That's it. Even for these top gooner idiots. Oh, well, we need our striker. Cool. Now you've got him. And not only have you got your striker now, you've got another creative player. Well, actually, the only creative midfielder, Eze. You've got 2 of them now. You've got 2 for your buck. There you go. What excuse have you got now? You've got your master creator and you've got your master goal scorer. There you go. Win something now then. You've apparently got the best manager in world football. So surely you can knit them all together, no? And if he can't, whose fault is it then? John Kavanagh, the referees, because he supports Liverpool and he could have given that penalty 1 week. Oh, do me a favour. Do me a favour. They do everything, Jez, and I know I'm going on a bit of a rant here. They do everything but look at themselves in the fucking mirror and go, do you know what? Maybe we just weren't good enough. Maybe we just weren't good enough. And it's frustrating. And look, we've had a good window, haven't we, Jez? And we've had a good window. It's almost sounds silly after spending 320-oddish million after the Hincapie defender sort of comes in. So I'd have loved that extra left winger, but it is what it is. I'm resigned that we might not get one. But either way, I mean, we've plugged some sort of areas. We've signed some really good players. What do you reckon? What do you reckon on this transfer? And I know you've sort of hinted at it there. Do you reckon we could have done maybe a little bit more? Are you overly satisfied if we didn't and our window's shut now? What's your sort of take on the old window?
Well, to be honest, I was surprised we got Grokeres. I was surprised with that. I wanted that. I wanted Eze. I wanted Eze for over a year now, and when we actually announced the other last week, I thought, yes, now we're showing some proper intent here. We've got Grokeres, we've now got Eze, and we're moving like a proper big team. Yep. We're showing intent that we're coming out there, boys, and we're coming for a fight. Yeah, that's what Arsenal should be doing. We haven't done it for way too long. And now he's got the tools to work with. He was the one, right? He was the one at the end of the season said we need a bigger squad, which is in total contrast to previous season. He said he doesn't want a big squad. And that is absolute abject bullshit from him because he knows he fucked up last year. Excuse my French. Because the amount of injuries we suffered, serious injuries as well, not just minor, serious. People had surgery,
career-threatening injuries, isn't it? Really, when you look at that way.
I mean, that's not a good thing. Having all those players having surgery in a season, that's bad. And he knows he didn't have the depth, he didn't have the squad that could get us through a whole season, and overplaying players when they're tired cause that problem. He knows that. He knows he caused that. So then he comes out with a statement, we need a bigger squad. And we've got rid of players that should have got rid of. Tomiyasu had to go. Another one we've still got here, Jesus. He needs to go. He's finished.
Yeah.
He's a finished player.
Absolutely.
I mean, he hasn't played. When was the last time he played? Christ almighty. It's got to be before last Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's still not fit again until November, December. I think more even the lat stage, and that's not match fit. That's
General
getting
fit.
to match fit. Yeah.
And then you got to get match fit. That takes 3 or 4 games to get up to speed. He's going to have to play in a load of under 21 friendlies to get him up to speed. And he ain't going to come back a player. He's done. He's gone. So at the end of the day, he should be out of the squad. He should be gone. I don't know why we still got Lokonga here either.
Vieira.
Yeah, Vieira.
Reece Nelson, he's still knocking around. Even though I did hear, to be fair, the reports today, from some of the more reliable journalists, I would say, I think it's 15 million to Palace. How concrete or down the line that is, I don't know. But like you said, sorry to interrupt you there as well.
No, you're right.
Is he still here? Why is he still here, Jez?
We are. The thing is, one thing that hasn't improved at Arsenal, right, is our sales. We like to spend money, and we've got money, but we're bloody shit, Aaron, at selling players, man. I think so far, I think I'm right in saying this, we've made 6.7 million on sales.
That was from last year's deal, though, Jez. That was from the loan of obligation for Nunes Tavares. So it wasn't even a deal negotiated this year, mate. It was just an obligatory payment, whatever you want to say. So yeah, it's not even a deal. The only thing we've actually done, Jez, is rip up Tomiyasu's contract.
Yeah,
you can't write it, can you?
I mean, he's finished, man. I don't think you'll ever see him play football again. That guy. I think he'll retire off. Be honest, which is a shame. I mean, he's a shame. I never thought much of him, but at the end of the day, he's out of the club. He's off the wage bill, so that's a bonus. But
someone else's problem, in it.
Yeah, the fact remains that, I'd have liked to have got another left winger in. To be honest, strengthen it up there. If we get in this Ecuadorian player, I think that'd be good business. And if we get him in before the window shuts, and apparently it was people saying last night it's all done in principle, then I'd say this window's. I'd give this window, because we ain't got a left winger that I wanted, proper left winger. I mean, I'd give this window a 7.
Yeah, I'm sort of straight there, and it would definitely go up to a little 7.5 if you was to get rid of a couple more players. I know they've had a lot of work beyond the scenes doing with the incomings, and they've done what seems a really good job. But 27th of August, and the only deal we've done is terminating a contract in terms of outgoings. Probably could have done a little bit more. Now, I suppose it's one of them sort of things, isn't it, Jez? As long as they get out the door, that's fine. However, if these sales are hindering another purchase, then it's a problem, isn't it? So, like almost like we could go for a Lookman at 45 million, but we need to sell Vieira, Lokonga, then it's an issue, because you're like, well, we kind of need to get you out the door. If that ain't no objective, then it's just like, well, whatever, but we're not made of money also. We've got to balance somehow, and you can't leave these even possibly out the squad, Jez, because we've bought a few in. I know we let some go, but you can't just having Lokongas knocking around unregistered and things like that, Jez. It's not good.
No,
they've got to sort that.
Business. I think also we've got to look at, Aaron, is there is going to come into the equation here about how many players you can have in a squad that are homegrown. We've got to have a certain amount, haven't we, of players.
I always have 8 in my head, but I could be talking absolute bollocks. I always just feel like it's there or thereabouts. I mean, we've obviously got a few. Madueke and Eze, obviously, that adds them in quite nicely. I know you can obviously have the Max Daumans, the Ethans, etc., as almost like a free because they're under 18. But if you haven't got them, I know you can also register them if you are a little bit behind on the homegrown things. So we have got a few in there in terms of quota, but it's obviously things to look out for, aren't they? Reece Nelson be going, obviously, it's another one out the door. It's obviously worth looking into. I'm sure they'd probably be on top of it. But yeah, I just sort of feel, you'd be looking at if you got them sales out the door and like a Rodrigo coming in, you're looking at 8.5, 9 window, aren't you? Maybe not so much 9, but you're knocking on that door, aren't you? If you was to have got in a Rodrigo, that would have really have finished what I would have thought would have been an unbelievable window. Really, I think it's been a really good window now. But yeah, it makes you sort of laugh, Everyone's like, "Oh, Madueke's coming in. He's our new left winger." No, now Eze's our left winger. Neither of them are bloody left wingers. Crying out loud!
No,
You know, we had this with a bloody Dibdob, a gal last night. I mean, yeah. I mean, you feel like you're headbutting a fucking brick wall when you're trying to get information through to him. But you know, I don't know. I don't know. What can you do? But other than that, yes, I'm just glad, Jez, we're sat here before we wrap up. At least not completely down in the dumps
no, I'm not.
with a draw against Manchester United, a really horrendous win against Leeds, and not done enough in the transfer window. We at least can be a little bit more upbeat, you know, going into maybe not so much with chest to Anfield, but with a little bit of confidence, you know, that even if you can come out with a draw's good for us. I don't think it is that good for them. You know,
No,
I reckon we've got 2 opportunities there to come home with a smile on our face. It just depends how big you want the smile. Do you know what I mean? If we can come away with a win, I mean, and I actually want to sort of say to this, how would you feel? I know it's very early in the window. I have to stress that very, very, very early in the window. When you're looking at title winning sides gone by, and I know I'm not saying we're going to win the title, so anyone in the chat, please don't take this out the wrong way. But when you have gone to 1998, Mark Overmars, Old Trafford, you've gone and won away against your title rivals. You know, in 2002, of course, Wiltor. You know, you've done the Anfield Robert Pires screamer. Do you remember that? The 2-1, I think it was, in the yellow shirt. Unbelievable. These they gather momentum, these big victories, and because we haven't done it, I just sort of think, in a very far-fetched reality, if you was to go there and finally get a result away from home, and especially to the champions, which would be this year for Liverpool, and start off 9 out of 9, I think psychologically it'd do them the world of good. Now, I'm not saying, oh, after 3 games, 9 points, you won at Anfield, title's done. Of course, I'm nowhere near stupid enough to suggest that. But what I'm saying is it could give them that little extra gear and mindset that they hadn't had before, and maybe belief. I don't know how you sort of feel about that. I may be waffling a little bit, but I think it could just give us that little bit extra to maybe put on a good little run of games. I don't know, but I just feel there's a little opportunity to maybe try and start something at Liverpool if you go there and set up and play right.
I'll tell you what.
Or am I just talking shit?
No, I think you're right. Look, I mean, when I saw that opening fixtures list, I thought, oh, this is a tough start. This is a really tough start, and it is. Let's not get it wrong. It is, but so far we've done good, and if we can walk out of Anfield with 3 points, then it's exceptional start.
Yeah,
they're no mugs. They're a bloody good team. And we know how difficult it is up there. Now, if we get a point, I won't be downhearted about it. You know, when was the last time we walked out of there with a point? I can't remember. I honestly can't remember. No, it was the 2-2, wasn't it? It was
I think we've had a couple of 2-2s. I think we've had two 2-2s, haven't we? Yeah.
It was a 2-2. But at the end of the day, I won't be downhearted about that. I think we've done a better start than I was expecting.
Yeah,
I won't deny that. 6 points out of 6. Don't get no better than that. And if we go up there, then we get that result and we win ugly and dirty. I don't care.
Yeah,
I do not care, because going to Anfield is a very, very tough ask. And the fact we did it at Old Trafford, it was an horrible game. It was a despicable game. But we won it dirty. It was a good old 1-0 to the Arsenal, you know, and I'll take it. Thank you very much. I'll walk out there with 3 points, snatched it out of their back pocket. No problem. It's good for me. And then we move. Oh, of course, we've got the international break coming up. Blood of bollocks that is. 3 games in and we have an international break. What's that about? And it just winds me up, Aaron. It really winds me up, man. But I'm very happy. I'm very positive right now about the whole setup. I think we've done very well in transfers. What we have done. Yes, we could argue we could have done a couple of more, but it's still not over yet. It's not over yet. We never know this guy, what he's going to do.
Yeah, it's surpassed expectations. I think would be safe to say, would be the way to say it, which probably would cater to a few people. I think it has surpassed it. I didn't think they'd be spending over 300 million quid. So in terms of that, I've got to give them credit. But I know better late than never. But could have done with this 2 years ago.
Yes,
could have done with this 2 years ago, couldn't we? This ambition 2 years ago, and we're talking about an Arsenal football team that have probably won the league. I reckon that 2 points beyond Manchester City season. I reckon if we'd have built like this on the back of that 8-point bottle job and gone and done this window, then I reckon you'd probably be looking at a somewhat successful Arsenal. We'd probably have had 2 trophies, maybe not 2 Premier Leagues, I don't know, but we probably would have won the league and maybe even nicked a cup somewhere down the line. But late than never. But
I do. I think we've been so close, and it's the frustrating bit at the end where this is what annoys me with Arteta. We get there so close and he cocks it all up, and now we're in the running for it. Great start of the season, can't deny that, And I will say, look, I don't rate the manager. I don't rate him, but I'll always give credit where credit is due. And so far, he's done well. He has done well. But if he starts doing his usual stupid nonsense in game management, where I think he is poor. I think he's poor at it in certain situations. That is where he lets himself down. Sometimes his tactics are shit. He does stupid things at the wrong time in a game. And he's going to have to prove himself, Aaron, at this weekend's game. When we go
it's funny, we sort of say this. He could very easily find himself back to square one after Sunday as well.
He could.
Getting humbled very, very easily. Go there and be humbled by Liverpool. And then all of a sudden we are just back to square one. He's got to build off of it. That's the kind of pressure that he's on. That's the kind of pressure that he's put himself under. For not getting over the line. He can only look at himself in the mirror and go, you know what, Mikel, you just haven't been good enough. It's not the unprecedented injuries. You haven't been good enough.
Look, he's got all the tools there now.
Exactly.
Players, they're all there. They're in his hands. It's now down to him how he sets the team up. Don't play negative football like he likes to play. Sideways, backwards, sideways, backwards. You go to Anfield, you've got to fight them. You've got to attack them. You've got to take them and kick them in the bollocks. I don't mean literally, but you know what I mean. And say to them, right, we've come to give you a game. We're not going to sit here and be rolled over now. We are serious about this. And if he doesn't do that, then it's on him. It's all on him.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because obviously, it's game 3. It's not season defining, but this is a really big test that he's got coming up here. And he's got to pass it. It's just as simple as that. He has to pass it because, as I said, things can come tumbling down very, very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. Because on the flip side of that positivity that we tried having a little show today, giving credit where credit's due, of course. Nothing wild. But, you get humbled against Liverpool and all of a sudden that Nottingham Forest game looks a little tricky. Then Manchester City at home doesn't look so pleasing. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to if you would have won. So there's quite a lot riding on it early on. We've just got to come out of it smelling as nice as possible. It's as simple as that. A draw, yeah. But if you really want to go on and maybe do something special, take the game to them and see if you can come away with all 3. But look, listen, man, it's been an absolute pleasure to have a little chat with you, Jez. An hour and 20 minutes. I didn't mean to keep you this long. So I do apologise. What's coming up, man?
Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock after the Champions League draw. That'd be interesting tomorrow night, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm doing a show with Lee, Kenny, Shane, DJB. And then next week, I'll be doing another show, which you're welcome to join if you wish, on week Thursday. Tuesday night next week will be the old school show as always with the old boys, Kenny and DJ being
the old guard.
The old guard. Yeah, that's good, the old guard. That's what's coming up at the moment. And I'll doing probably a match review of the Liverpool game after Sunday. And as always, mate, thanks for having me on. I can't believe that's an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, it goes like that.
Like half an hour.
Yeah, it just does. It bolts by. But no, it's a pleasure to have you on and a chat as well. Don't forget, it's a double, triple, quadruple pleasure to see all the faces in here as always. You know, supporting not just me but Jez, Shane's. You know, all of our channels. It's never, ever, ever for a second gone unappreciated. So a double thank you to every single one of you. And if you could just smash that like and sub to Jez as well. Whose link is in the title. That would be fantastic. But that aside, I'm sure we will catch you all very, very soon on one of our streams. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, a little midweek. And yeah, we'll see you very soon. Take